them because of the chemicals. So they'll just let it die. This pesticide that they're spraying on it is called the monitor. And on top of that, so say 5 days pass, they go fix it. After everything is fixed, now this is 15 acres, right? 15,000 acres of potatoes. They take the potatoes after they're grown, they put them in this humongous shed, and they have to sit there for 6 months until they're able, so the chemicals that were applied to them can die off until they're able to be eaten. Then they can be eaten 6 months after. Look at TCL. 6 months after. 6 months after they've been grown. That is the only time you can even eat them. So what do you think is happening with this food that we're eating? Like all these pesticides and everything. If they have to wait, if it can't be touched, go ahead. I'm sorry.
If it can't be eaten as soon as it's picked out the ground, something's wrong with it.
Definitely, I would say so. So, I have a few cards. And this is my omnivores cards, right? So, what all do y'all think has pesticides, hormones, antibiotics, and steroids? Do you think meat, beef, pork, chicken, or vegetables, carrots, lettuce, or dairy, eggs, and cheese? Of these, which ones do you think have pesticides?
You mean like from a normal American, like what they go and buy at Walmart every day, or you mean everything?
Right. Ding, 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 ding. You're so smart. How you do that?
Cause
I mean, if they do the meat with all that stuff, then that's cows, that's beef, that's the most known meat we eat in America. So the milk has to have it, that's dairy. And then fruits and stuff, vegetables, like you just said, potatoes.
So the process goes like this. They feed them corn, which we need to back up a couple of trillion steps, because the corn that they feed them is genetically modified. It's not real corn. It's hybrid corn. They create this corn in a lab. They plant the corn. Once they plant and grow this corn, then they feed that to our animals, which already is a chemical because it's already broken down into all these different strands. It's no longer really corn. And then the animals ingest it, and then everything that comes from our animals, like the milk, the cheese, the eggs, all of that stuff is through chemicals, because it's all, and then while they feed it to them, they do everything. So corn actually makes a lot of everything that's in a grocery store. So when you're in a grocery store, he tells us about this story about corn, right? And he tells us about the chicken nuggets, and he tells us how the actual chicken came from corn-fed chicken. The stuff is wrapped in the meal is corn. Everything is corn, basically. So let me just go to the next one. That's the Happy Meal. What is the corn made? What in a Happy Meal is made out of corn? Is it the cold drink? Is it the fries? Is it the hamburger? Out of all of these things, what's made out of corn?
Jack's all made from plastic.
The hamburger and french fries.
The cold drink too, because they use high fructose corn syrup to make the corn, to make the cold drinks. And guys, the worst thing on the planet you could eat is high fructose corn syrup. That is the worst thing you could probably be ingesting. It's in everything. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and that's the omnivore dilemma, that book. The next book is on gluten and how gluten can be found in many different places. So it's Gluten-Free Basics, and it's a book. In the book, is rather simple, and it gives you a bunch of different um, it gives you a bunch of different little recipes that you can use if you want to take gluten. Do you know what gluten is?
It's wheat.
It's a protein that is found in like wheat and all these other different things. So I'll just hurry up quickly. Is it harmless? Do you think gluten intolerance? Do you think is it harmless? Does it cause long-term health problems like diabetes, or does it have symptoms like migraines and cause rashes? Can gluten sensitivity cause any of these things?
Yes.
Yes,
All of them.
all of them. It does. It causes all of them. So gluten in our diet, which is a protein that they add to our meals, causes a whole bunch of, cause osteoporosis. It causes a whole long list.
What's
The next
osteoporosis?
books, your bone. I think it's arthritis. It's an arthritis disease. It's diabetes. Diabetes is a really terrible disease that we don't really give enough credit to. It's a really terrible disease. The next book I chose was Skinny. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I picked that book for you guys, because I felt the title would grab you.
Yeah.
Little did I know, this woman uses profanity all the way through the
Oh,
book.
duh.
like it's really bad. Like, it's really bad. At one point, I had chapter 6. I had to stop. I had to fast forward it because it's too much profanity. Okay, but it's profanity used in a good way, so I'll allow it for you guys. But okay, so the number one thing she says you need to give up is fad diets. Never do a diet. Okay. She talks. It's so many different chapters and so much great information. She talks about the carbs. She talks about the fruit. She talks about the sugar, which she calls the devil. Sugar is devil. She talks about your pH balance. She talks about the Atkins diet. She talks about hunting and gathering. And she talks about enzymes that affect your body. She goes through all, I'm missing one of my things. She goes through all of this. And, okay, so this is some of my cards that I made. What other species drink milk from another species? Do any other species drink milk from? So my questions.
Cat.
Huh?
Cat.
Cat? Possibly, but we feed it to them. So do lions drink tigers' milk?
No.
Duh. Do monkeys drink gorillas' milk? And duh, no. But
Humans drink cow milk.
yes. And it's not supposed to be that way. It's not supposed to be that way. Let's just say that's only one topic in the book. And this is another. What sugar is safe? So a lot of people go and get the coffee. You know, our teenagers, we go get coffee. So I'm thinking, is Splenda safe?
No.
You remember how your grandmother used to always put Splenda in everything because she thought she was not using real sugar. She was going to use Splenda. Stevia, is stevia safe?
Mm-mm.
Is equal or NutraSweet safe? Okay, so stevia is the only safe sugar that we know of right now. I actually don't know how it could be, but as of right now, stevia is the only one that is recommended and is safe. It's the only one. So these are some little facts that I made up. Did you know that diabetes was renamed to type 2 diabetes? At first it was, I forgot the name, onset diabetes, like something like that. But now because so many young children have it, they had to rename it. And they renamed it to type 2 Because at first, diabetes, you were born with it. And then